No one stole your time. You handed it over, nicely, politely, like someone offering a tray at a banquet they weren't invited to. Every time you said sure when you meant no, every time you opened your phone before opening your eyes, every time you canceled something just for you so you could be there for someone else, you weren't being generous. You were disappearing. Slowly, strategically, so well trained that no one even noticed. Not even you. I'm just really busy. That phrase is modern society's most polite form of self-erasure. You're not too busy to breathe, to rest, to write, to think. You've just been conditioned to believe that unless every hour of your day produces something for someone else, it's wasted. That rest is selfish, that silence is lazy, that saying no is rude. Let's break that now. Because the truth is, you do have time. You're just giving it to things that don't deserve it. You're available to your job at any hour. You answer texts within seconds. You say yes before you've even checked your body for signs of depletion. Your attention isn't just split, it's shattered. And the only part of you that's been left behind in your own life is you. This video isn't about balance. Balance is for people who think they're in control. This is about warfare, fighting to take back what's already yours. It's about drawing hard lines, burning bridges if needed, and realizing that no one is going to give you space unless you take it. The Stoics didn't preach passivity. They preached precision. Marcus Aurelius said, if you seek tranquility, do less. Or more accurately, do what's essential. The problem is that your life is full of non-essentials disguised as obligations. You're not overworked. You're over-obligated. To people, to systems, to expectations that drain you and call it noble. In the next minutes, we'll go through tactics, not fluff, ways to reclaim time, space, and self-command. You won't need to escape your life. You'll learn how to re-enter it on your terms. So if this already feels like someone's reading your mind, like this video, share it with someone who's running on fumes, and subscribe to Victory Stoic. In the comments, leave your story, or just type the phrase that starts the shift. I reclaim my time. I reclaim myself. Because no one's coming to rescue you from your calendar. No one's going to beg you to put yourself first. That's your job now. Let's begin. Number 1. Install a daily no-touch hour. No messages, no calls, no access. You're not burned out because you're doing too much. You're burned out because you're never allowed to fully stop. You've become so reachable, so responsive, so accessible, that your brain no longer knows what real silence feels like. You think you're functioning, but what you're really doing is leaking energy from 1,000 invisible holes. One of the most dangerous myths modern adults believe is that rest will come later. After the kids go to bed, after work slows down, after the inbox gets cleared. But that later never comes, because life doesn't slow down. It expands to fill whatever space you give it, and you've given it everything. Enter the first line of defense, a no-touch hour. One non-negotiable block of time each day where no one gets access to you. No texts, no Slack, no phone calls, no questions, no explaining, no problem solving, just you and your own presence. This isn't luxury, it's neurobiological necessity. When your nervous system is constantly pinged by notifications, requests, and interruptions, it stays in a low-grade fight-or-flight state. Over time, this keeps your cortisol levels elevated, which wrecks sleep quality, weakens immune function, and grinds away your ability to think clearly. Even just 25 minutes of uninterrupted quiet, according to studies from Harvard Medical School, can begin resetting this overactivated stress response. And no, scrolling quietly on your phone doesn't count. You need mental stillness, not digital sedation. Let's take a real example. Daniel, 43, is a single father of 2 in Minnesota. He works full-time in IT support and handles the school drop-offs, homework, groceries, everything. His life is noise. Every hour someone needs him. And for years he thought exhaustion was just part of being a good man. Then he started experimenting with something simple. 30 minutes each evening after the kids were in bed, with his phone off and the lights dimmed. No tasks, no media, just silence. At first it felt awkward, even selfish. But after 3 weeks he noticed something strange. His irritability dropped, his sleep improved. And most importantly, he didn't feel like he was sprinting through life with a blindfold on anymore. That half hour didn't fix his schedule. It fixed his grip on it. Why does this work? Because it does something radical. It returns authority to your mind. Most people live on borrowed time, and not in the poetic sense. Their hours are owed to bosses, spouses, kids, deadlines. They forget they own any of it. But the no-touch hour reestablishes sovereignty. It says, this one slice of the day is mine, even if nothing else is. The Stoics understood the value of reclaiming internal control amidst external chaos. Cleanthes, the often overlooked successor to Zeno, once wrote, "Withdraw into yourself, as a fortress in a storm. The world won't stop coming for you, but you can decide when the gates are closed." Here's how to apply it. Pick a consistent time each day, ideally when external demands are lowest, early morning, late evening, or during your lunch break. Communicate clearly to those around you. This is my reset hour. I'll respond afterward. Use visual cues if needed. Noise-canceling headphones, closed doors, no devices in the room. If you only have 15 or 20 minutes to start, that's fine. What matters is the ritual of separation, the act of drawing a line. Over time, your mind will begin to trust that, at least once a day, it will not be pulled in 20 directions. This is not about being unavailable to the world forever. It's about making yourself fully available to yourself, even briefly. Because if you don't create a protected space, life will invade every square inch of your time and convince you that exhaustion is proof of value. One no-touch hour a day. That's the move. Not because it makes you more productive, but because it reminds you you belong to yourself first. And from that center, everything else begins to recalibrate. Number 2, start your morning without touching your phone for the first 45 minutes. The moment you check your phone in the morning, your day no longer belongs to you. Before you even stand up, you've handed your attention over to someone else's agenda. Emails from your boss, messages from family, missed calls, news alerts, social media, noise. All of it floods in before your nervous system even has a chance to reset from sleep. That's not waking up. That's surrender. When you reach for your phone first thing in the morning, you're not just checking in. You're handing over your mental sovereignty before your feet hit the floor. The damage is subtle, but real. Your cortisol spikes faster. Your thoughts begin reacting instead of leading. And worst of all, your priorities, your true values, get drowned in other people's demands. Here's what most people don't realize. Your brain is in a highly impressionable state for the first 30 to 60 minutes after waking. Psychologists call this the alpha-theta bridge, a mental window where your subconscious is most open to influence. What you expose yourself to during this window sets the emotional tone for your entire day. So when you immediately check your inbox, doom scroll the news, or jump into DMs, you're not getting ahead. You're letting your most vulnerable cognitive state be programmed by anxiety, urgency, and noise. This is where the 45-minute rule comes in. Do not touch your phone for the first 45 minutes of the day. No notifications, no texts, no email, no news. Just silence, presence, and your own internal signal before anyone else gets a chance to broadcast theirs. Let's break it down practically, using someone you'll recognize. David, 48, is a project manager in Texas. 2 kids, mortgage, demanding job. For years, his morning routine was simple. Wake up, roll over, open phone. In the first 10 minutes of the day, he'd scan Slack, check the markets, glance at emails. He thought it helped him get a jump on work. What it actually did was lock him into reactive mode before he even brushed his teeth. Stress started high and stayed high. His attention span was trash by 11 a.m., and by evening, he felt like he'd lived 3 different lives without ever being fully present in any of them. 1 month ago, David committed to a single change. No phone for the first 45 minutes after waking. He bought a $12 analog alarm clock and left his phone charging in the kitchen. The result? His mornings slowed down. He had time to stretch, breathe, drink water, journal briefly. The anxiety that used to hit him before sunrise began to fade. Not because his life got easier, but because he reclaimed the psychological gate at the start of each day. He chose his own input first. The Stoics knew the importance of owning your first thoughts. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "The things you think about determine the quality of your mind. Your soul takes on the color of your thoughts." If the first color you paint on your day is someone else's urgency, their anger, their politics, their chaos, your mind gets hijacked before it has the chance to be calm or sharp or directed. Here's how to make this shift doable. First, Move your phone out of arm's reach at night. Buy a cheap alarm clock or set your smart speaker to wake you up. The physical habit of reaching for your phone is the first trigger you need to remove. Second, plan a 3-step wake-up ritual you enjoy. This doesn't have to be perfect or Instagrammable. It just needs to be yours. Example: 1. Drink a full glass of water. 2. Stretch or walk around the house for 5 minutes. 3. Write 1 paragraph in a notebook. That's it. The goal is to direct your energy inward, not outward. Third, tell others you'll be unavailable until X time. If you live with family, let them know. If work expects 24/7 access, push back gently. You'll be surprised how many emergencies aren't actually urgent when people know you won't answer immediately. Fourth, measure how it feels, not how productive it is. This isn't a performance. It's psychological reinforcement. Pay attention to your clarity, your emotional tone, your ability to resist reacting for the rest of the day. You'll find that this single habit gives you more strength than caffeine ever could. We live in a culture that treats immediate availability like virtue. But Stoicism flips that idea on its head. To live with discipline, to start your day anchored, is not selfish, it's strategic. Seneca warned, "No man is free if he is not master of himself." Your phone is a tool. You are not its servant. And if you can't go 45 minutes in the morning without it, ask yourself, who's really in charge here? Start tomorrow, one day. No screen, no noise, no input but your own. Then do it again and again, not for productivity, for presence. The quality of your entire life begins in the space between sleep and screen. Guard it like a warrior, because once your attention is gone, so is your power. Number 3, eliminate 3 things you do daily, just to look good in someone else's eyes. You're not overwhelmed because your day is full. You're overwhelmed because too much of what fills it doesn't belong to you. Every day, you do things you didn't choose, not because they're necessary, not because they bring meaning, but because someone, somewhere, might judge you if you didn't. You wear clothes you don't like. You reply to messages you don't care about. You stay on calls longer than you should. You show up for roles you didn't volunteer for: caretaker, fixer, peacemaker, high performer. And why? So no one can say you were lazy, rude, selfish, cold, disorganized, distant. You're not serving a life, you're performing one. The psychological toll of this performance is invisible, but brutal. You feel it when your stomach tightens before opening a text thread. When you say yes knowing it's a betrayal to your own priorities. When you look at your to-do list and can't remember why half of it exists. This isn't about laziness, it's about mental clutter masquerading as duty. Here's the hard truth. If you cleared out just 3 actions per day that you do for the sake of image, things you do just to avoid disapproval, you could cut down 30% of your emotional fatigue. Not by working harder, but by no longer working for an audience that doesn't even know they're watching. Let's get practical. Paul, 46, a mid-level executive in Denver, was drowning. Not in tasks, but in expectations. He volunteered for extra projects at work even when he had no time. He responded to emails at midnight because it looks good. He maintained a social circle he no longer enjoyed because that's what professionals do. His actual passions, writing, hiking, spending time with his kids, were buried under obligations chosen for optics, not alignment. When he finally paused to ask, whose approval am I chasing? He couldn't name a single person. It was all phantom pressure. That's the key. A large percentage of what you do daily isn't requested, required, or even noticed. It's imagined, fabricated by a mind trained to seek safety through social validation. And every minute you give to these ghosts is a minute stolen from what matters. The Stoics would laugh at this madness. Epictetus taught, if you want to improve, be content to be thought foolish and stupid. He meant it, because as long as you fear how you're seen, you're not free, and you cannot carve out real time for yourself while your identity is still being outsourced to perception. Here's your tactical move. Step 1. At the end of your day, write down everything you did, every task, every errand, every yes. Then, next to each item, ask, did I do this because I wanted to, or because I was afraid not to? Step 2. Highlight 3 things that meet the second criteria. These are your daily image tax tasks. Be honest, no justifications. No mental gymnastics, just facts. Step 3. Eliminate 1. Not next month, tomorrow. Either stop doing it altogether, automate it, or delegate it. Let the discomfort come, let the guilt rise, and then let it pass. That's the cost of reclaiming your time. Repeat the process for a week. Watch your energy return. You don't need another productivity app. You need to cut the performance. Because every task done for show is a theft from the life you actually want. This isn't rebellion, it's sanity. The Stoic way isn't about rejecting society. It's about refusing to let society's invisible hand shape your every move. Time is finite. Every yes is a trade. Ask yourself, who are you really trading with? And are they even watching? Drop the costume, drop the act, drop 3, and don't look back. Number 4, ask yourself one question every morning. What am I living for today? You don't need a 10-step morning routine. You don't need motivational podcasts, cold plunges, or sunrise yoga to reclaim your day. What you need is one brutal, clear, unskippable question asked every single morning before the world gets to you. What am I living for today? Not a month from now. Not next quarter. Today. Because if you don't define what you're living for, the world will. And the world is happy to assign you a purpose, deadlines, notifications, problems that aren't yours, emotional fires you didn't start. You'll spend the day reacting to the loudest demands, confusing urgency with importance, and collapse at night wondering why you feel empty after doing so much. This is not time management. It's attention theft. And it happens most often when you begin your day without direction. Psychologists have a name for this: goal dilution. It happens when you wake up and step directly into other people's priorities without anchoring your own. Your energy scatters, your decisions become defensive, your schedule becomes reactive, and you end up doing a lot but achieving nothing that actually matters to you. Over time, this becomes your default state, productive but misaligned. The Stoics understood this risk long before modern science caught up. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "People who labor all their lives but have no purpose to direct every thought and impulse toward are wasting their time, even when hard at work." It wasn't a motivational quote. It was a warning. Busyness is not virtue. Motion is not meaning. If you don't stop to ask, what am I living for today? Then someone else's chaos will always override your clarity. Take Karen, 41, a marketing director in New Jersey. Her mornings used to start like most people's. Scroll phone, answer emails, rush breakfast, jump into Zoom calls. By 10 a.m., her mind already belonged to clients, coworkers, Slack notifications, and brand deadlines. It wasn't that she didn't care about her work. She just couldn't tell the difference anymore between what mattered and what was just noise. One day, her therapist gave her an unusual assignment. Write down every morning one sentence answering, "What am I living for today?" Not a big mission, just a focus, a tone, a target. Some days her answer was to protect my calm. Some days it was to show up for my son without resentment. Other days, to move my body with respect. It didn't change the chaos, but it gave her a compass. And a compass makes all the difference when you're lost in fog. That's what this practice does. It doesn't remove stress. It filters it. It doesn't give you superpowers. It gives you permission to stop chasing everything and commit to one thing with depth. And that one thing, when chosen consciously, can pull you through noise like a wire cuts through concrete. So how do you do this practically? First, set a consistent cue. Maybe it's after brushing your teeth, maybe it's right before coffee. But tie the question to something you already do so you don't forget. Keep a notepad or your journal where it's visible. Don't overthink your answer. Don't try to impress yourself. Just write one sentence. Today, I live for. And then fill in the blank. Not with what you should say, but with what feels real. Be honest. Even if the answer is messy. Even if it's to not lose my mind today. That's still a direction. Still a decision. And even the smallest decision made with clarity is stronger than 100 tasks done on autopilot. Second, check back at the end of the day. Not to judge yourself, just to reflect. Did I live for that thing? Did I remember? Did I let myself get pulled away? This isn't a moral scorecard. It's awareness training, and awareness compounds faster than discipline. Third, protect the morning window. Even 5 minutes. Don't let the noise in first. No emails, no scrolling, no headlines. You wouldn't build a house by dumping garbage on the foundation. So don't start your day by dumping the internet into your brain. Anchor first, broadcast later. When you wake up and jump into tasks without direction, you're no different from a machine. Efficient, maybe, but unconscious. This one question breaks the loop. It invites your inner compass to speak before the outside world yells. It reminds you that your time, your choices, your life still belong to you, and that belonging must be claimed daily before it's lost in the flood. Because no one will carve out time for your purpose but you. No one will pause the machine so you can remember who you are. That's on you. That's the discipline. That's the power. So tomorrow morning, ask it. Say it out loud. Write it down. Whisper it if you have to. What am I living for today? Then live for it, like the rest of the world doesn't get a vote. Number 5, don't apologize for I can't. Just say my schedule's full. You don't owe the world an explanation every time you protect your time. But somewhere along the way, you were trained to feel guilty for not being endlessly available. You learned to pad your boundaries with soft language. You don't say no. You say, I'm so sorry, I really wish I could, but you over-explain, over-apologize, and over-rationalize just to decline a request that deep down you already knew wasn't right for you. That stops now. Next time someone asks for your time and it doesn't serve your focus, your energy, your peace, don't say, sorry, I can't. Say this instead. My schedule's full. No apologies, no justifications, no guilt. This isn't cold, it's clear. And clarity is what people respect. Apologizing for a decision that protects your time reinforces a dangerous belief that your no is something shameful, that your needs are negotiable, that you exist to be available. But your time is not public property. It is not rented by emotional obligation. It is a finite resource, and if you keep giving it away with an apology attached, you're telling the world and yourself that your boundaries are inconveniences, not standards. Let's bring in real life. Melissa, 39, a speech therapist and single mother of one, used to say yes to every PTA request, weekend favor, and friend emergency. She'd stretch herself thin, then collapse under the weight of trying to be everything to everyone. When she started practicing this phrase, my schedule's full, something shifted. She used it on a coworker asking for help on a non-urgent project, used it on her cousin asking for a last-minute babysit, used it on herself too, when she was tempted to squeeze one more thing into an already packed evening. The result? Less guilt, more energy, and a growing sense that she had permission to protect her bandwidth without a courtroom defense. From a Stoic perspective, this is essential. Epictetus wrote, "If you wish to improve, be content to be thought foolish and stupid." What did he mean? That true clarity often offends those who benefit from your lack of it. When you stop padding your boundaries with sugar, people who rely on your compliance will push back. Let them. Your clarity is not their crisis. Here's a simple tactic to build this muscle. For 1 week, track how many times you say I'm sorry in a context that doesn't require apology. Especially when turning something down. Write them down. You'll be shocked at how often you apologize for simply being unavailable. Then replace every unnecessary sorry with one clear line. My schedule's full. The beauty of this sentence is that it's neutral. It doesn't invite negotiation. It doesn't suggest uncertainty. It doesn't make you look defensive. It states a fact, and facts don't need apologies. Another benefit? You become easier to trust. When people know your yes means yes, and your no is solid, they start respecting both. Flaky approval is a currency that inflates fast. But anchored clarity? That's rare and valuable. To apply this starting today, pick one small opportunity, a non-urgent meeting, a favor you don't have bandwidth for, or even just a moment where you would normally over-explain why you're taking time for yourself. Say it once, my schedule's full. Then say no more. Let the silence do the work. Over time, this reframing will bleed into how you perceive your own time. You'll stop seeing boundaries as battlefields. You'll stop calling rest selfish. And you'll start realizing that people who truly respect you never needed the paragraph of justification in the first place. Because power doesn't shout, it doesn't justify. It just declares and holds the line. Number 6, redefine productivity. It's not how much you do, but how much is left of you after doing it. You've been lied to. Somewhere along the line you were taught that productivity means doing more, faster, longer. Cross off more tasks, fill the calendar, answer faster, push through fatigue, finish the list, and then feel guilty you didn't get to the next one. You measure your worth by your output. You wear burnout like a badge, and you call it being responsible. But here's the truth. Real productivity isn't about how much you do. It's about how much of you is still standing when it's done. Anyone can grind themselves into the ground. That's not skill, that's collapse. What takes wisdom is working in a way that doesn't just complete the task, but protects the operator. That operator is you. Start here. After every major task, check in with yourself. Not just did I finish it, but what did it cost me? Did you finish the report but now have no patience left for your partner? Did you clear your inbox but feel too drained to enjoy your evening? Did you check every box but feel like a ghost by 6 p.m.? That's not productivity. That's bleeding quietly and calling it discipline. Modern Stoicism would call this a misalignment of values. Seneca said, "It is not that we have a short time to live, but that we waste much of it." That includes wasting your vitality on doing things the hard way, out of habit, out of ego, or out of fear of appearing lazy. You're not lazy. You're working from a broken framework. Let's get practical. Derek, 42, runs a small construction company in Oregon. He prided himself on working longer hours than any of his crew. First on site, last to leave. Emails at 11 p.m., weekends just to get ahead. He was respected, but also short-tempered, sleep-deprived, and had no space for his kids. One day, he tried something different. Instead of asking, "How much can I get done today?" he asked, "How can I finish this job with enough energy left to play catch with my son at 6? That question changed everything. He stopped over-perfecting emails, delegated tasks he used to hoard, installed a no-call zone from 5 to 8 p.m. His business didn't shrink, it stabilized. And for the first time in years, he felt human while still being in charge. This isn't just preference. It's neuroscience. Studies show that chronic overwork reduces your cognitive flexibility, the very thing that allows you to make smart decisions under pressure. In other words, the longer you grind, the dumber your strategies get. Long hours give you the illusion of dedication while stealing the very clarity that makes your decisions effective. So how do you flip the script? First, set an energy budget, not just a time budget. Estimate not how long a task will take, but how much it will drain you. Then space accordingly. 2 back-to-back high-output meetings? Bad design. Follow intense work with lighter, more restorative blocks. Second, create a daily vitality checkpoint. Ask once midday and once before logging off. How much of me is still here? If the answer is just fumes, then you've already overdrawn. Adjust accordingly. Third, optimize systems, not willpower. Productivity is not about trying harder, it's about designing smarter. Automate tasks you repeat. Batch similar tasks into one block. Reduce decision fatigue. You're not lazy. You're likely stuck using a process that punishes energy instead of managing it. Fourth, redefine success. Success is not just done, it's done well with energy to spare. If your work depletes you daily, it's either designed wrong or your belief about what's expected is outdated. Challenge both. Your energy is not infinite, and your life isn't a factory. You're not here to run until the machine breaks down. You're here to build, to contribute, to connect, and to have enough of yourself left to actually experience it. Because a perfectly productive day that leaves you numb is not a win. It's just quiet erosion. So let this be your new measure. Not how much did I do, but how much of me did it cost? And if the cost is too high, stop glorifying it. Start fixing it. Because the Stoic life isn't about more effort, it's about more intention. You don't get medals for exhaustion, you get consequences. Build smarter. Finish with fire left in your lungs. And if something steals all your energy just to cross a line, cross it once, then redesign the path. Number 7, schedule one thing per week that exists for no reason but joy. If every item on your calendar exists to serve someone else's goal, then congratulations, you've built a very functional prison. You eat for energy, you work for money, you rest only to recharge for more work. You socialize to network, you read to optimize, you run to hit a number. And joy? Joy is what you allow yourself only when everything else is done. Which means you never actually get to it. That's the trap. Modern adults, especially the high-functioning and high-achieving, have fallen to the cult of utility. If something isn't useful, it gets labeled as indulgent. If it doesn't improve your performance, ROI, or reputation, it gets postponed. You've trained yourself to value every hour by what it produces. So even your downtime becomes a transaction. Your hobbies become side hustles, your leisure becomes content, and your nervous system always waiting for permission to relax. Stoicism isn't about deprivation, it's about choosing what holds value. And joy, for its own sake, is a radical kind of value. Seneca wrote, "We are more often frightened than hurt, and we suffer more from imagination than from reality." What he's really saying is, most of your misery is self-generated. Most of your stress isn't from life. It's from how rigidly you've programmed your mind. Injecting simple joy is not a luxury. It's a rebellion against that mental rigidity. So here's the move. Schedule one thing each week that has no purpose but pleasure. Literally put it on your calendar, name it, own it, and protect it. Not to get something done, not to become better, just to exist in something freely chosen. Let's get concrete. Emily, 37, works in finance and has 2 kids under 10. Her life is an endless stream of efficiency, meal preps, reports, Zoom calls, bedtimes. When asked what she did for fun, she went silent. Everything she used to enjoy, drawing, baking, dancing, had become wasted time. Her calendar was optimized, but her spirit was gone. So she tried one shift. Every Sunday at 4 p.m., she draws for 45 minutes. No agenda, no sharing online, just paper, pen, and peace. After a month, she said it felt like remembering I exist outside my roles. Neuroscience backs this up. When you engage in an activity that you choose purely for enjoyment, without reward, without pressure, it activates dopaminergic pathways tied to autonomy. This isn't just pleasure. It's identity reinforcement. It reminds your brain, I am not just a responder, I am a chooser. Here's how to apply it. Step 1. Choose something that makes no sense on paper but makes you feel alive. Reading fiction, sketching badly, walking nowhere. Playing music you'll never perform. The more impractical, the better. Step 2. Put it on your calendar like a meeting with someone powerful. Because it is, that someone is you. Step 3. Do not cancel it unless someone is literally dying. Treat it as sacred. Because if you keep skipping the things that bring you back to life, eventually no productivity will be enough to save you. Step 4. After it's done, take one breath and notice. No one needed you for 45 minutes, and the world didn't collapse. You came back more human. And that's the point. Joy, chosen freely, is one of the few things left in this world that's not monetized or weaponized. It's also one of the few things that remind you who you were before you became a checklist. One thing a week, just for you. No outcome, no applause, no explanation. Not because you earned it, but because you're done believing you have to. Conclusion: time was never the enemy, obedience was. You kept thinking the problem was the clock, that there weren't enough hours, that your schedule was the villain, that if you could just wake up earlier, grind harder, multitask faster, you'd finally feel like yourself again. But the truth is brutal. You were never fighting time. You were obeying everything but yourself. You obeyed the inbox, the expectations, the imaginary audience of people you're terrified to disappoint. You obeyed urgency. You obeyed guilt. You obeyed the quiet fear that if you ever stopped being useful, no one would keep you around. And that's why you're tired. Not because you've failed, but because you've surrendered, inch by inch, minute by minute, to a system that only values you when you're producing or pleasing. The modern world won't stop you from vanishing. It will applaud you as you disappear, as long as you smile and hit the deadline on your way out. But not here. Here, you take the knife back. You don't wait for time to show up. You carve it out. You don't ask for permission to breathe, think, feel, or walk away from things that drain you. You make space, ruthlessly if you must. Not because you're selfish, but because you finally understand the cost of disappearing politely. The Stoics were not monks in caves. They were emperors, slaves, merchants, warriors. People neck deep in the chaos who still found a way to own their inner life. They knew what we've forgotten. Your freedom begins the moment you stop confusing obligation with meaning. You don't owe your energy to everyone who asks for it. You don't owe your silence to keep the peace. And you don't owe your exhaustion to a culture that sold you busyness as virtue. So here's your choice. Continue measuring your days by how much you gave away, or start measuring them by how much you reclaimed. If this message hit something you've been avoiding, like this video, share it with someone who's running themselves into the ground, and subscribe to Victory Stoic. In the comments, drop your story, or simply write the phrase that brings the focus back. I reclaim my time. I reclaim myself. Because your life isn't a calendar to be filled. It's a fire to be guarded, and if you don't protect it, someone else will burn it for light and call you generous. Thank you for watching. Thank you for listening. And above all, thank you for remembering. Time isn't what you lack. Clarity is, and now you have it.